Hey friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. You know, the Mazda MX-5 Miata is a car that was based on the pure principle of a lightweight, inexpensive sports car that was simple and fun to drive. Now we're 25 years in, we've got the second generation here, and I'd like to find out today if this car lives up to the same pure principles that made it famous. While I call it the second generation, I must acknowledge that MX-5 purists call it the third generation, known as the NC. While having many detail differences, the first two, known as NA and NB, were both virtually the same car to me, having owned both a 1990 and a 2003 model. That said, the design of the MX-5 we have today is far removed from the original, which appeared 25 years ago in the details, but is immediately recognizable as its offspring. Thankfully, when Mazda crafted this one, it only grew an inch or two in size. Fender flares give it a more muscular look, and larger wheel openings allow for a slight upsize in tires and wheels than before. While simple in its form, the MX-5's design is saying a lot to the eyes, though, in a very subtle language. Our Grand Touring tester had the upgrade of the power retractable hardtop, a device I thought at first to be a bit much for this car. After discovering, however, how well it works and how simple its 12-second folding action is, I became a believer. It's almost a $2,000 add to the MX-5, but winning me over was the fact that it takes absolutely zero space from the trunk, which is already sacred real estate in these cars. The cockpit, while designed many years ago, remains fresh and up to date in terms of material quality, fit and finish, and the expected creature comforts. While it looks small, it feels much roomier and more substantial from behind the wheel than the original. The cabin is comfortable, with the seats being a welcome place to sit for long periods of time. I actually had to push the seat forward a bit in this MX-5, where in previous generations always had to have it back all the way. At normal cruising speed, one of the great things about this interior, especially with the top down, is it's very quiet. Now, I have the windows up here because I'm recording with a microphone, but this is a convertible that with the windows up or down, you can hold a conversation with your passenger and you don't have to shout. The spicy mocha leather seating and trims on our tester were a nice contrast with the black trim, but I did find the material to really pull the sweat out of me in the heat, more than most hides. Though I love this look, I'd probably stick with cloth here in Arizona. Center stack controls and the audio system remain old school, which I prefer in a car like this, as it's in keeping with the simplicity theme. There aren't any fussy touchscreens, console control pucks, or menus to complicate your life with. Storage space in daily life, features like usable drink holders are surprisingly better than expected. The doors each have water bottle holders, the center console too, and a large lockable storage box resides between the rear seat backs. Man, this car just puts a smile on my face every time I run it through the gears, and that's really what makes it special. This is a car that's always happy, it's always in a good mood, and it always wants to make you happy. And you know, hell, that's why you buy a car like this, isn't it? At the heart of all this fun is the MX-5's rather ordinary 2-liter dual overhead cam 4-cylinder engine. Producing 167 horsepower and 158 pound-feet of torque, it isn't outright muscle by any means. It is, however, just what the doctor ordered in terms of sound and feel for this car. One great thing about this engine is it loves to rev. That's 7,200 RPM, baby. Man, I could do this all day. While I didn't get the test measure for 0 to 60 times, published reports put the MX-5 in about the low to mid 6-second range. Numbers in this case miss the point, as the car is so fun and enjoyable to flog, you forget things like math. Handling in this generation is much improved with a double wishbone front suspension and a multi-link rear. Our tester also had the optional suspension package with more aggressive springs, Bilstein dampers, and a limited slip differential. Though it's been around for a while, the chassis is as stiff and solid as you can ask for in a topless roadster. The experience on back roads is sublimely civilized when the pavement is less than smooth. And while it's the heaviest MX-5 at 2,593 pounds, it's remarkably light by today's standards and responds as such. This chassis is, well, getting a little old in tooth, but that's not a bad thing. It's got some old tech that really pays off in the handling department, and that is the hydraulic steering. So many cars now today have electronic power steering that, well, it's lost a lot of the feel and a lot of the communication that we really like to see in a sports car. This steering still has that level of communication and feel that a lot of cars we wish still did. Well, talking about fuel economy in this context feels a little out of place. The EPA does rate the MX-5 at 21 mpg city, 28 mpg highway, and 24 mpg combined. We achieved exactly that, 24 mpg combined during our testing. While it has a 6-speed manual transmission, the low 410 rear axle ratio still has the engine buzzing at a relatively fast 3,000 RPM at highway speeds. If the gearing scenario was such that the engine settled in at 2,000 to 2,200 RPM on the highway, that MPG might be considerably higher. Well, folks, I got to tell you, I'm very happy with this car. It lives up to the principles. It's simple, it's pure, and it's just a lot of fun to drive. And, well, ours is fully loaded, about $33,000, so relatively affordable. What else are you going to buy for that price in this class of car, right? So it does go on my I'd buy it list for 2014 as well. There's just really nothing else like it. That said, it has all the things you want in a sports car. It's got a happy wheeling engine, a suspension that really wants to work for you, and good quality inside and out. So this week I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'm Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride. It just makes you want to live, man.